Hi, this is Frankie from aboutscript, and in this video we're going to cover making quick bump maps that aren't going to be the greatest quality, but you don't have to open another program to make them. So to do this, you're going to first need an image that you'd like to use, something that might be important to have a bump map for. For example, we want these lines to be a little more defined in a more complex scene. So what we're going to do is go over to our compositor, and you see we just have a very simple node setup here. We have a diffuse shader with an image texture attached to it, and what we want to do is make it so that it's bumpy on certain parts of our image. Specifically, these lines we want to go in, and we want these to maybe stand out a little bit more. So the first thing that I recommend doing is going over to your materials tab with this material and putting the flat plane on, just so you can get a preview of what the output's going to look like. So we're going to hit Shift A and use our lovely brightness and contrast and drag our color into here. Now temporarily, we're going to be changing this later, we're going to plug this node into our diffuse. And right before we do that, we're going to add a converter for RGB to black and white so that we see our image over here as black and white, which is what the bump map is going to be using. So now what we can do is maybe bump up our contrast a little bit so that we get a higher resolution or a higher difference between the two. And maybe adjust our brightness. And if this decides to update, there we go. Now you can see that we have these inset and our white coming out a little more. So if we were to come over here and then take this node out of there and stick it in our displacement, which is our bump map, and then drag this into here, you can see that when we go into our rendered view, that you can tell that these are inset and that the other part of our brick tile here is outset a little bit without changing the geometry or going into another program to edit our bump map. And that's going to be it for this video. You can also use some other techniques such as our hue, saturation, and lightness, or a light fall off to get a more realistic look.